I am Dr. C.S. Swamy, former colleague of Professor Ramani. So we have known each other almost from the time we joined together around 1961. Professor Ramani was born in July 1934, 16 July, at Salem. He had his education, B.E. Mechanical. In 1956, he got his graduation, Madras University. He also got B.E. Electrical, 1958, from Madras University. And more than anything, he was also got an auxiliary air force. He was aeronautical ground engineer, and he did his master's in IC engineering, internal combustion, in 1960 from Madras University. Postgraduate diploma in management from IIM Calcutta in 1967. He went from IIT to do that. And finally, he got his PhD in industrial engineering from IIT Madras. So he is an alumnus of IIT Madras. Then, during 1955 to 61, he was a lecturer in MIT Crumpet, and 56 to 63, he was also a commissioned flying officer in the Auxiliary Air Force. 1961 to 83, he served in IIT Madras in various capacities, starting with lecturer and finally was a professor. He was both taking courses in mechanical as well as industrial engineering and management. And he moved over as a director of NITI, the expansion being National Institute of Industrial Engineering and under the Ministry of HRD at Bombay, now called Mumbai. And he retired in 93. And during this period, he was sent a deputation from IIT Madras for 5 years. And since the deputation could not be renewed, and he was requested to continue in NITI because large contribution there. So he transferred his services to NITI. So he retired from NITI in 1903, but he served as a senior professor in the Academy of Excellence in Management, Chennai, and he was also a vice chancellor of Kanchi University for 2 years, 96 to 98. Now since 98 till he completed his 80 years, 2014, he has been several things. He has been advisor, consulting professor, distinguished adjunct faculty in several colleges and universities in Tamil Nadu. And as regards the awards and distinction, there is a very large number starting from his student days. But I would like to just mention that he was conferred the Lillian Gilbreth Award for outstanding contribution towards the professional industrial engineering in 1987 by IIIE. I hope it is International Institute of Industrial
That's
Engineering.
correct.
And he was also conferred the Distinguished Alumni Award of College of Engineering at Guindy.
Yes.
Professor Ramani, I just have one or two clarification.
Yes.
Namely, you have taken your BE in two branches, mechanical and electrical.
True.
But during this period, you were also serving as a faculty member in MIT Crumpet.
Yes.
Did you do it by part-time?
It's like this. After I finished my BE degree in mechanical engineering,
Yeah.
which is a 4-year course, they permitted us to take up electrical engineering with 1 more year of attendance.
Oh, I see.
Because many subjects were common between mechanical and electrical. So I did that BE in electrical with 1 more year's attendance and then joined MIT Crumpet.
Oh, I see.
And from MIT Crumpet, after 2 years, I was deputed to the MSc Internal Combustion Engineering course at Guindy
I see.
for 1.5 years. Went back to MIT and then I saw the advertisement for IIT, applied and came here.
Okay. That brings me to a very interesting thing. You have been studying in Guindy Engineering College.
That's correct.
And that means you must have seen the sort of inauguration of the IIT Madras in 1959.
Yes, I saw that.
You mean the foundation stone
Yes,
ceremony?
yes.
Between CLI and IIT.
I was not in IIT at that time.
No,
But,
it's outside. I'm
outside,
saying it
yes.
outside. And what I would like to know is that you must have seen that gate, which is the original gate of IIT Madras.
Yes.
A single gate was there.
That's correct.
Now we have got in gate and out gate. And do you have any photograph or any remembrance of that gate?
I have remembrance, but I don't have a photograph
Okay.
because at that time I was in MIT.
Yeah.
Just came across for the
No,
function.
no, this is, I'm talking of 1961. after
61.
joined.
Oh, 61, yes.
Yeah, 61 also it was only a single gate.
Yes, single gate.
Because I joined in October.
Yes.
You joined in
June, July.
July, okay. So this gate was there up to 62 or something like that.
I remember the function, but I don't have any.
Yeah, that is one thing which Heritage Center was trying to find out. Another thing which I want to know, because it's purely for heritage purposes, there was to be a lake almost from the entrance and going in front of the temple, and then it was just taking a turn at the shopping center
Yes.
and going back to the lake, where Lakeview Road or big lake is there.
Very true.
Going further almost up to that stadium.
Yes, yes.
And in fact, sometime in the early 60s, I remember there was boating was arranged
Yes.
as this Prof. Sengupta was director,
True.
and boats were played for 1 day or 2 days. It was a very big attraction.
Yes.
So you remember that?
I remember that. And thereafter, they used to plant plantain trees all over, and the yield used to be distributed among
That is what I was trying to tell. There were mango trees,
Yes.
vegetable gardens, all this from used water.
That's true, sewage water.
Used water. So we used to get it. So of course, my monkey's population
Yeah.
increased, so everything has been destroyed. Had you anything to do with NCC?
Not NCC.
Okay. But during the Indo-Chinese War in 1962, and we were in the same building, you were called back by the...
Yes, I was called up.
You were called up for ground duty.
I was called up for ground duty at Kalaikonda base.
I see.
But then my marriage had been fixed 2 months later, and so I told the air marshal that it is happening. Then he immediately posted me in Madras, the Meenambakam airport, to be in charge of troop loading. I had to remove all the seats and put the troops, count them and send them.
And were you again used in the Indo-Pakistan war?
No, I was not in the Indo-Pakistan war.
Because by then you
Yes,
had
65,
completed
yes.
nice. Another thing I would like to know was, do you remember the consecration of the Jalakanteswara temple?
Yes, I remember. The Kanchi Shankaracharya had come there. That is the time when I discussed with him my intention to go to IIM Calcutta, and he blessed me saying, yes, good idea, you can go and come back, he said.
To IIM?
To IIM Calcutta.
Oh, that
During that Kumbhabhishekam,
I see,
I met him.
See. No, but the Shankaracharya of Sringeri had also come.
Yes.
And do you remember who did that? I remember it's the Y.S. Ramaswamy wife.
Yes.
You know, they sat down
Yes.
and then did.
Correct.
Okay, there's another information I just want to know because there's nobody else to corroborate what I know.
You are correct. I remember Y.S. Ramaswamy with his dhoti
Yeah,
and
yeah,
attire.
And another thing which I tried to find out was that, 1961 when I joined, I was in Kaveri Hostel. Initially as a resident, then I was made assistant warden, 62, beginning to 62 June. And then during that time, along with the PTI then, I arranged a number of staff student sports, cricket and all that. And I used to go in the evening, set up the whole thing, and Nataraj and the registrar,
Yes.
so I was very interested, his personal secretary, Dubey. And actually we made the first match, but there are no photographs of that.
I see.
But the second match which was played, there are photographs.
I
I
see.
got in the album,
I see.
and in that my colleague, Professor Ramadan, another technical assistant was Venkatachalam.
Yes.
They were both playing for the league.
Yes.
They also were in the team. And Mr. Natarajan and Dubey are also there. So Y.S. Ramsa was not there. He played in the first match. I remember all this. So this is one thing which I could not get corroboration of what I wanted to ask you about. I would like to know, during your, when you joined in 1961, the English faculty, who was the English faculty?
Professor Krishna Rao, then Professor Krishnamurthy came. Dr. A.V. Krishna Rao.
A.V. Krishna joined later.
Little later.
V.S. Kumar.
V.S. Kumar was there, yes, he was the earliest.
Vishwanathan.
Vishwanathan, yes.
Vishwanathan, V.S.
Kumar was the early bird.
Yeah, Krishnamurthy from Pachapas College, he used to come.
Krishna Rao joined a little later.
Yeah, little later. V.S. Kumar was there.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he is not well, because otherwise we couldn't
see.
call him. And you were teaching both in mechanical and industrial engineering?
That's correct. In mechanical as well as here, because I initiated the IC engines laboratory in 1961. And at that time there was nobody to teach the subject of metrology. And so I was asked to teach metrology there until they recruit a suitable professor. Then it's only in 1965 that I expressed my intention to study industrial management in IIM Calcutta. At that time, Professor Sengupta was the director. He had an intention of starting master's course in industrial engineering and industrial management. So he readily agreed to mine. He asked me to write the entrance examination. I wrote the entrance examination, got the first rank. So the director of IIM Calcutta welcomed me, and I said I will go on leave. Professor Sengupta said, no, I will depute you with salary, provided you give a contract to come and serve at least for 3 years in IIT. So it happened, and that's how I went to IIM Calcutta.
Professor R.K. Gupta, was he a professor of management? Or
Yes, Professor R.K. Gupta was professor of management, teaching financial management, and Dr. Anantaraman was professor of economics in the same department.
What about Professor Datta, who passed away?
He came in later on, Professor Datta.
What was he?
Industrial engineer.
Oh, he was an industrial engineer.
Both me and Professor Datta were in charge of the industrial engineering section.
I see. What other branch, I mean, faculty was there? I mean, was there sociology or philosophy?
Yes.
History was there, I remember.
History was there. Vairana Pillai was there. Then after that we had a short person. Ramachandran, that's correct.
Short person.
Yeah, Ramachandran was there.
But sociology was not there.
Sociology was not there as sociology. But psychology was there. Govindarajan was teaching that psychology.
I see, because I don't remember. Because I don't
He used to teach sociology also, in addition to psychology.
There was a lady before.
Yes, one lady was there, Phillips.
No, that Elizabeth
Korean was there.
She was English. So there was somebody who was doing, she used to do survey, sociology survey and all that. That was
It could be Dr. Hamsa Leelavati.
Must be Hamsa Leelavati.
That's correct.
Because I remember.
Yes, you are correct.
You see, it so happened that she was paying very little amount to the volunteers who were going around doing survey. But then according to project rules, it was not permitted. I was sitting in the...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I used to sit as chairman for this. That's how I know about it. Now please tell me about your contribution to IIT Madras, in particularly as you said just now, started the internal combustion engineering.
Yes. The internal combustion engineering laboratory was initially set up by me, and later on, of course, we had a West German professor by name Dr. Stahl, who moved in 3 years later, and he took up the construction of the laboratory. And since I had done MSc in internal combustion engineering, I introduced a number of experiments in the laboratory here. And since I was in the Air Force even then, I brought in an engine from HAL for testing in our IC engines laboratory, which really brought a lot of fame to our institute, because we are the first person to test an aeronautical aircraft engine in our laboratory.
I see.
And subsequently, the first batch of IIT students, when they came to the third year, I used to have a YOC examination for the students, and I used to bring a lot of components, old components like carburetor, fuel pump, keep it on the table. So when each student comes, I used to ask him to pick up one of them and say, what is it, what is its function, what is it made of, and so on. So very soon news spread that I am adopting this technique. So all the students used to come to the foreman of the laboratory, Dr. Somasekar, Mr. Somasekar, and learn from him what are these components, etc., so that they will do well in the YOC. I said that was my objective, make them learn.
Right.
So it was a very interesting experience for me to make them learn about all these things.
Yeah, in fact, that reminds me that a German professor, was in the early, I don't remember it is a Mr. Ebert, but it's Professor. Ebert was only a
Yeah.
workshop superintendent. One of the gentlemen once told me that in 59 and 60, he used to, when the first interview, PTEC interviews used to come, he used to keep screwdriver, cutting plier, and things like ordinary tools.
Yes.
And he used to say many students had not even seen
Yes.
those things. So you are
Yes.
it's something similar.
Similar, Dr. Scheer was there
Yeah.
initially.
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience. When I joined engineering college, Dr. Paul was the principal. He used to say, what are your extracurricular activities? The students used to say football, cricket and all that. So he had a cricket bat hidden behind him. If you say cricket, I am a champion and all that, he say come out to the open field. Now are you a bowler or a batsman, do it.
I see.
Very interesting like this.
And the Professor B.S. Murthy later took over.
Yes, Professor B.S. Murthy took over as a professor vice engineers.
And quite a number of people he trained. Some of
Interesting.
people got PhDs.
Very true. Professor Gopalakrishnan,
Yeah.
Mr. Vannan, good number of
Nagalingam,
Yes.
quite a few.
Quite
I
a
don't
few.
know. We are not in contact with
I
with,
see.
it's quite, I mean, they all retired around
They
90s.
spread out and quite a few of them went to US also. B.S. Murthy himself went to the US for...
But B.S. Murthy is no
Yeah.
longer there. He passed away
Yes.
last year, so he was 94. or
Yes,
so.
yes, yes.
But others, he was very enthusiastic. So that was one. But the combustion engineering came at the same time.
Little later when M.C. Gupta came
MC
over and took
Gupta.
over that.
Oh, he, yeah, of course, Heitland. and-
Heitland was there.
Heitland
Gupta was looking after external combustion engineering
Yeah.
and Murthy and me were looking after internal combustion engineering.
Oh, and regarding your association with the projects for
Yes.
the bachelor students and M.Tech students, what
Yes.
about that? Which field were you doing it?
Mm,
Was it industrial?
Actually, in around 67, after my stint at IIM Calcutta, I was taken to the Humanities and Social Sciences Department, where the M.Tech courses in Industrial Engineering and the M.Tech course in Industrial Management were housed. In fact, I asked Dr. Sengupta, is it not illogical to house them engineering course in Humanities Department? You should logically go to Mechanical, some other department. He had an explanation for that. He said, in today's context, industrial engineering has got a lot of social sciences content in that. And if I put it in mechanical, other departments will vie for that. So I put it in this department. And of course, to some extent, it was what he said was true, because management, man management, etc.,
Right.
you require a lot of social inputs, economics, and finance, and so on.
In fact, what I see from the for the archival purposes,
Yeah.
when I went around the planning of the institute, I find that they had planned industrial engineering.
Yes.
The very first this one. In
Correct.
fact, they wanted in the very first group of people who were to be sent on scholarship to Germany. 3 people were sent in 1958 itself.
I see.
So very surprising.
Very
that
surprising.
It was not done.
Was
They,
not.
they had given a lot of importance to
Yes.
industrial engineering.
It was very much in Professor Sengupta's mind,
Yeah.
and that is why when I said I would like to go and study in IIM Calcutta, immediately he said, yes, I will send you, but
It
come
has
back.
been there in the planning from the very beginning.
Yes, good.
And Germany and German professor, of course, you had Professor Klein
Professor Klein in Humanities Department,
and
and of course Professor Stahl in IC Engines Laboratory was there, German professor.
I see.
and-
And Sharma was the Indian equal to the
That's
German
correct.
language.
Yes, that's correct. Indian
Yes.
God. Dharma, yes.
And who else do you remember from those days? Asthana?
Asthana,
Yeah, but very
psychology.
young person. He
Young.
passed away very
Yes.
young.
Asthana and Govindarajan, psychology and related subjects.
Oh, I see. Oh, they had.
Yes.
Were you in any way connected with the warden or any other committee?
Oh yes, I was, when I returned from IIM Calcutta,
Ah,
the then director, Dr. Ramachandran, asked me to take over as warden of the Mandakini hostel, where first year students come in there.
he was first year.
He
First
gave me
batch
reason.
of Mandakini
He
House.
gave me a reason for that. He said, you have studied management and industrial engineering. Now you should be able to manage the first year students, where I get a lot of problems. Many first year students, when they come to IIT, they lose their bearings. So you have to take care of all that. And a lot of anecdotes in Mandakini hostel. And in fact, one student lost his wristwatch, very costly wristwatch, and I was to investigate it. So I asked him a lot of questions. I couldn't. Finally, I said, who was the last person who entered a room, after which he lost it. He named his colleague, who was the son of a governor of Reserve Bank in Sri Lanka. He has come on deputation. I felt it very delicate to ask him, but still I called him to the administrative block. Security officer was sitting. I said, look, there seems to be some doubt, and are you aware of it? He was hesitating. Then I said, the police are here. They would like to interview you. But why do you want all these things? If there is anything you can tell me now, I'll save you. He said, yes, sir, I stole that book. Which book? I said, the library book, he said. Oh, I see. So then I said, he must be the boy. Then I said, what about the wristwatch? He hesitated. Yes, sir, I stole the wristwatch. Where is it? I sold it and got cash. Immediately I contacted his father. And immediately he said, don't spread this image. I will send the money. I will reimburse the wristwatch to the person who lost it. And the person who lost the wristwatch, his father was Professor N.S. Ramaswamy, director of Niti at that time.
Oh, I see.
So he said, Dr. Ramani, thank you very much. I got the money. I'm going to buy in the very same watch and give it to my son. Thank you. You are also a detective, he said.
I see, I see. I didn't know.
Another incident is, I don't know whether you remember, all the hostel cooks went on strike.
Right, that was in 1973. In fact, that's what another thing which many people don't know.
Yeah.
I want to ask you.
It happened, and then immediately all the wardens and the assistant wardens met the director. He said, we should do something about it. We went to various hotels in Madras, collected whatever was available, paying the cash, and came back. But then none of them would give receipts, regular receipts. So I told the director, this is the problem. We can overcome strike problem by getting the food, but we can't get receipts, proper receipts, etc. They are not giving. He told the accounts officer, please see that don't insist on regular receipt. The wardens are, you must trust the wardens, and whatever receipt they give, take it. So after 2 or 3 days, the strike was called off, and then the accounts officer said, where is the bill? We gave him, produced chits of paper. He refused. Then we went to the director. He said, no, I permitted that. It was an emergency, so we can't give regular bills and all that.
This was in 73.
73.
That means it was Professor Pranave or Sappan. Ramchandran left around that time.
Yes.
So I think Professor Pranave.
That was the second time, second strike. The first strike was when I was in Mandakini House, 69.
69.
69, 70 around that time.
I see. I was very first year, I think I was called for the hostel day.
Oh.
Mandakini hostel, I remember right. That is the last hostel.
Exactly, the last one, very end.
Last hostel. Now there is, I am told still that next to that is the coconut grove. The coconut grove is still there.
I see.
Coconut trees have not been
I have not visited that.
So I don't know about other this one. And that is the, what about sports activities and clubs and all that?
I used to be a regular visitor to the staff club near the director's house there. In fact, I remember Dr. Aramadam and me used to play chess.
Yeah,
And
chess
Krishna
player.
Rao. Aramadam is a good chess player, besides being a
Great
cricketer.
player.
And sometimes we used to go very late into the night, 9:30. And both his wife and my wife used to shout, what about dinner?
No, you originally stayed in D block with
Yes.
your neighbors.
That's correct.
And then you moved into C1. Where did
C1.
you move into C1?
C154, where Dr. Shankaran was there, civil engineering Shankaran. Then Professor Balaraman was also staying there.
Aeronautics.
Then, of course, I became a warden. Then I went to the warden's quarters.
Then you came to Lakeview Road.
No, before Lakeview Road, there is another road there, similar to Lakeview Road. I forget the name. We were there for some time. And then we moved into Lakeview Road.
Oh.
B5 Lakeview Road.
Yeah. Well, after we had left D block, an old gentleman with his daughter-in-law came to my house. I was not there to meet my mother-in-law. And mother-in-law was the wife of a judge, Madras was Justice Somaya. And that old man was, I think, was a junior or working with Swamy, that Mr. Somaya. So my wife, in the usual ways, asked the lady, so what is your husband doing in Tamil, of course.
Yes.
And she hesitated and said, his name was Cho.
Sure.
Cho. So, that is the first time I came to know
I see.
about Cho Ramaswamy. So that he was your brother-in-law.
Yes.
And then, of course, during Professor Indirasen's time, the extramural lecture was
Yes.
as I told the whole hall was full half an hour before.
Yes.
And it so happened when I went after a class, I could get in the very first row a seat. Then next to me sat Shivaji Ganeshan's son-in-law, who
Yeah.
used to work in mechanical
Mechanical
engineering,
engineering.
Swamy.
That's correct.
And it so happened his guide's wife was Veera Krishna, mechanical.
Ah.
His wife came and sat on the floor.
Mm.
So he was feeling very delicate. So, madam, then I said, she said, no, I am sitting with other ladies, don't bother. So it was very
Yes.
fully crowded. that
Yes,
day.
it was
Did
very
you visit
popular.
your house afterwards?
Yes.
After the
Yes,
lecture?
yes. Of course, we meet each other, but we don't talk much of politics and all that.
No. Yeah.
But he had a very good sense of humor, and he found in me also a person interested in humor. So the book, when I published, Humor and Productivity, he got 2 sets of copies.
I see.
And he said, whenever I go out for a meeting or so, I look into your book to see whether there's any fresh joke I can quote from there.
I see.
It was very interesting.
Could you say something about your work in Niti?
Yes. When I went as director of NITI, took over, actually I was supposed to be relieved from IIT Madras, and just before that I had enjoyed my sabbatical leave. So the registrar said, you have to serve for 3 years after your sabbatical leave, so only afterwards you can go to NITI. But then the then director, Professor Indiresan, said, after all, NITI is just like IIT, another institute under the same ministry. Instead of working here, he is working there. Anyhow, he is going to come back after 5 years. But Setanathan, the then registrar, would not agree. He said, the rules say this, follows. Then I told Setanathan, you seem to be a pakka bureaucrat. He won't budge from that. Then, so what he did was, you convert all your sabbatical leave, the salary which was paid to you must pay it back and all that. Professor Indiresan said, sorry, when Setanathan registrar says, I can't do much about it, even though I am on your side. So I met the then chairman of NITI and said, this is what is happening. He said, no, I want you here. What I will do is, as a director of NITI, I will allow you to do consultancy like faculty. You will get some more income. So you pay the money now and you can compensate out of that, he said.
Oh.
That is how I joined. That was interesting. And then when I joined, the faculty members are only 32 in number, and there are not many research going on at that time. So I told the board, please, I will introduce a lot of research courses, training programs, but double the faculty I want. From 32 to 64, I made a calculation. The chairman said, we trust you, we will give you. But where will you get the faculty from? I said, leave that to me. So what I did was, I used to visit IITs, IIMs, etc. And people were about to be promoted but didn't get the promotion for some chance due to lack of vacancies and all that. I talked to them. So very soon, I recruited faculty from IITs, IIMs, etc. In fact, later on when I visited an IIM, they said, Dr. Ramani is coming, be careful, we'll take away our faculty from here. But I managed it, and the institute came up very well with a lot of research and all that. And that is why after 5 years, the ministry asked me to continue for the second 5 years because I had expanded the role of that institute. I learned a lot of things, academic administration from IIT Madras, and introduced the concept there. Like the MS course which we introduced here, like the Intro to MTech. I introduced the same concept there. So executives from industry used to come and do that MS course. So IIT experience helped me quite a bit in academic administration in NITI.
And how many students took their MS or PhD here in IIT?
In IIT, under me, you mean?
Yeah.
Under me, on the whole, about 10 students. One of them was T.T. Narendran, who became a dean here and all that. He is my MS research scholar, actually. So, nearly 10 students underwent their MS course under me. One is Vijay Kumar, who is now Senior Associate Dean MIT, USA.
I see.
And then Varadarajan, University of Texas, and things like that.
I see. Good.
Many of them are now in the US.
You have done a lot of work on disaster management.
That's correct.
And you know, somewhere around the 92 or so, the then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh
Yes,
introduced the technology mission project.
that's correct.
And one of the technology mission projects given to IIT Madras and IIT Bombay was disaster management because we are both prone to cyclones
Yes,
and
yes.
floods and all that. So, is that the reason why Niti got involved and you got involved in this?
Actually, I got IIT Madras involved in 1982 when the Divi cyclone happened in Andhra Pradesh. More than 3,000 people are killed.
That is Guntur.
Guntur. So the late Dr. Naidama said, called a meeting of faculty, and they said, you are all scientists and professors, you must do something about it to solve this problem. Otherwise, the nation will lose its credibility in scientists and engineers. I put my hand up and said, I can simulate for a cyclone and train people to handle cyclone. He said, what does it mean? I said, you cannot create a war to train our soldiers and generals to fight a war. You have to go by simulation. Similarly, you can simulate for a disaster and train. He agreed and recommended to the Tamil Nadu government. At that time, the late Dr. M.G. Ramachandran was Chief Minister in Tamil Nadu. Occasionally he used to come to the IIT guest house and dispose files because it's a very quiet place for him. So he called me suddenly from the department. I met him. He said, I have got a recommendation. Seems you are going to do in disaster management. I'll give you 1.5 lakhs of rupees. How long will it take to do it? I said, I will take in 6 months, I'll be able to do it and finish it. Will you be able to train our collectors and others? I said, yes. So he sent 1.5 lakhs of rupees. The very next day, he got it. And I started my program here. And then at the end of it's a simulator. It's called SimClone, simulated cyclone. And there was a technical officer from World Meteorological Organization who was an observer in my program here. So he recommended for a small grant from the World Meteorological Organization. At the end of the 3-day program, I trained about 20 district collectors, 2 senior officers from Army and 2 senior officers from the police department. They all recorded. It's a very useful simulator. They learned a lot of things which they could not have learned in real life, and recommended it should become a standing training tool for senior people in government who have to take decisions in disaster management, etc. It was very interesting, and that is where IIT started its first work in disaster management. The simulator was very well known. It's called SimClone, and based on that, the Virginia University in USA is now bringing out 5 volumes on disaster management only through case studies, and I presented this case study. It was accepted. It is being printed by the Elsevier Press. It will come out shortly in a couple of months. So that is how we initiated this. Later on, we got a circular from UGC saying, why is it disaster management is not being taught in any of the management institutes? You are teaching so much of management and all that. The answer was, if you study disaster management, you will get jobs only in government. But our boys want to go to private institutes and all that. And he recommended institutes to introduce at least one course in disaster management. And very recently, it has made a compulsory subject in geography for CBSE schools, 10, 11 and 12. NCERT has written books also, compulsory disaster, to make them sort of sensitized to disaster management, safety and things like that. Yes, flood control. Mine was on cyclone. That's why I called simulated cyclone. SimClone was called. I presented a paper in the USA on that. On that basis, I was made the Asian Vice President of the International Society for Emergency Management. They liked the simulator very much. And even now I went to NITI and pursued that. 1 or 2 doctoral students came out in this subject, disaster management. So even though it is not very popular in education institutes, the disaster management, it is very useful for the government to do it.
See, when the technology mission projects were introduced, it was told the user should contribute at least 50% of the project.
Yes.
So, as far as I remember, there was some faculty in the civil engineering department here who went to Kadalur and Nagapattinam. They tried to set up, I don't think it was simulator, I don't know. They collected a lot of data and then finally they put them in together and how to manage this and all that. They went to meet one of the ministers and they had a very bad experience. So that was during the 90s, 95. So they were very disappointed because it so happened that I was sitting in the first project staff selection and all that, and I felt that something which where the government, you see, it was the other way around. The government, the ministers, secretaries, PAs and stuff was, how much will the government get? So the government giving the money, it was how much. So that was the state of the Tamil Nadu government. So I am sorry to
No, I understand that.
this in an interview.
In fact, another interesting experience was Professor Sampath, then Deputy Director, initiated what is called interdisciplinary research in IIT Madras. It's a very nice concept. He said faculty members can go outside the department, collaborate with other departments, do joint projects, research projects.
Yeah, that continued.
He did it in a very big style. In fact, after that, I joined hands with the applied mechanics department. Professor B.V. Rao was there. We started a M.Tech course on maintenance engineering and maintenance management.
Yeah, I think I remember.
It was very successful. My boys got very good jobs after that. Then I had a collaboration civil engineering department, Professor H. Ramani and myself. We were asked to find out what should be the optimal length of the outer arm of the outer harbour in Madras, where all ships can come and all that. He did the simulation of a dam, construct a small model. I did the management simulation. Together we got it published also. And the Madras Port Trust also congratulated us because they used our information for deciding the optimal length of the outer wall. So it is all started because of the interdisciplinary movement which was encouraged. They even said we will give you joint apartments if necessary in 2 departments. You can be a professor in 2 departments and all that. And similarly, there are other things in mathematics department we collaborated for simulation. I collaborated with the chemistry department, your department, with Professor M.V.C. Sastry. He got a project from Department of Science and Technology, Hydrogen Energy. So I did the management aspect, the forecasting, technological forecasting. The last of the volumes was done by me.
I see. I knew that you were
Yes.
connected with the
Yes.
hydrogen energy. Because we did on the storage of hydrogen.
Storage hydrogen,
Storage of
yes,
hydrogen.
merchant hydrogen
Yeah.
and things like that.
In fact, it so happened that sometime in 90, there was 3 or 4 groups working on the hydrogen energy in India.
Yes.
And Department of Navy
Yes.
in Washington, they seem to have seen and finally pointed out the work done by the group of involved me and Professor V. Srinivasan
Ah, I see.
and B. Vishwanathan. And then they contacted me, and then one of the scientists from there came and said, can you take it up?
I see.
So on our side we will provide what. So the idea was to have a hydrogen storage thing
Correct.
installed in a submarine.
Yes.
So they asked me whether I could spend 1 year in US
I see.
working on, and it was something which I could not do. So I had to transfer the project in industry,
I see.
where there is PICS Science
I
Foundation,
see.
because we were working on installing a hydrogen energy.
I see.
I mean the whole manifold, everything there,
Yes.
and they had started some work.
I see.
So I think somehow the central government, there was Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy, there was Ministry of something else,
Yeah.
so environment.
Yes.
So all the confusion finally,
I see.
that project was never given. Otherwise, we would have made use of the hydrogen.
I see. I remember in this project, based on the work which I had done, I presented a paper in the World Hydrogen Energy Conference at Stuttgart. They had exhibited a car in the conference
Yes, yes.
running on hydrogen as a fuel. The exhaust was nothing but a few drops of water. That was the exhaust, non-polluting.
They
and all
have
that.
even flown planes
Yes,
in
yes.
Germany. They
Very
have-
interesting.
But some or other it has, because in the space side is different thing.
Yes.
Liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen
Yes.
is being used now. That's quite some years.
Our projection indicated by 2025, the main hydrogen will be the main carrier of energy and not the electrical wires and so on. That is a prediction, 2025.
Now, I'll go back to something. You see, you said you were in MIT
That's correct.
56 to
61.
61. Was President Kalam was a student there?
Yeah, President Kalam just finished when I entered.
Yeah.
Here is the interesting anecdote. After some years, we were in a plane and we were reminiscing. We were standing in the aisle and talking. The air hostess came and said, "Look, gentlemen, please sit down, give way for others." Then I said, "See, please sit down." He said, "No, you sit down." I said, "No, you sit down." He said, "Look, when I was a student, you were a lecturer.
Oh, I see.
So you must sit down first," he said. I still remember that, the way he said that.
Did you keep in touch with him?
Yes, but not when he became president. It was very difficult for
No,
access. and all.
no, not president.
In fact, he called me for DRDO, where he was heading that,
Exactly, that is why.
and asked me to give lectures on project management. And my very first lecture, he sat through the entire lecture, 1.5 hours, to see what I was saying. Because I did a lot of work on project management, computerizing that, and probabilistic aspects and all that. So he appreciated that very much.
Was Professor Pandale was teaching at that time?
Yes, Pandare was in MIT Crumpet, we were colleagues,
I see.
and he was in aeronautical engineering. And a glider was being built at that time by Dr. Repentin, who came from West Germany. And I used to associate myself with that also. So when Dr. Pandale came to IIT Madras as a director, he was asking me to continue the work.
He came as a professor first.
Yes, professor.
Yeah,
Then we became director and all that. But then I said I am a little away from aeronautical engineering, Air Force and all that. That is more on maintenance management. But one thing, when I was in the humanities department for the MTech courses in industrial engineering, industrial management, one of my strategies was to have a very close association with the professional associations which were connected. 4 professional associations: Madras Management Association, Indian Institute of Industrial Engineering, Indian Institute of Materials Management, Indian Institute of Plant Engineering and so on. So it was the students also, I made them go for meetings with the association, etc. It was very easy for me to get them projects in industries because of this association. It was very, very useful there. So I kept very close with the professional associations and industries. That helped me a lot in placing that.
You say that you are still keeping busy,
Yes.
and one of the things I notice is that you are connected to the State Bank of India as a director.
Yes, I was elected as a director of the Central Board of State Bank of India 3 times for 9 years, and one cannot be elected more than 3 times. That's why they let me go.
When was it? That was in 2003, 2013.
Third.
Oh, very recently. You were there. What was your experience like there?
First of all, I learned a lot about major projects going on in India. Secondly, I was made the chairman of the technology committee to introduce core banking. That was a very good experience for me. And I asked them to initiate a research on early warning forecasting of non-performing assets. I said, you come to know only after the financial figures are analyzed. But I, being a technological man, I can tell you, much before that you can sense that it is going to fail. By studying technological factors like delays in supplies and too much inventory in the in-process inventory, factors like this, you take and do research and have an early warning forecast. They asked me to do research in that, but it was too late. Then after I left State Bank of India, I required an association or an institute through which I could have done this big work.
In fact, your PhD was on stochastic process and inventory.
My PhD, stochastic process applied to inventory control. Dr. S.K. Sinosan was my guide. One interesting thing happened. When he was to be awarded the PhD degree, the mechanical department claimed that it should be in their department. The humanities department said it should in our department, he is working here. The mathematics department said the guide is in mathematics department, so you should get. Then finally I said, you are not asked the candidate, you are discussing myself. Finally they gave me the PhD degree from mechanical engineering department.
Yeah, I saw that. Because Professor Srinivasan had written a monograph on stochastic process.
Yes, along with Richard Bellman, he has collaborated, come with 2 very good books also.
Yeah. And you had written a book along with Nagarajan?
Yes. What happened when I returned from IIM Calcutta, that was the time when Professor Sampath brought a 370 computer into IIT Madras. When we were teaching computer programming, we found it very difficult to correct the answer papers of students because they have got their own logic. You have to read that logic and then find out what mistake they made. So the 3 of us, Koteswar Rao from mathematics department, Nagarajan from chemical engineering department, myself, joined together and wrote a book on Fortran programming.
Oh, Fortran programming.
Yes, with industrial engineering applications. And the Anna University prescribed that as a textbook also.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Because Nagarajan, who was in chemical engineering, finally ended in
Computer
engineering and retired as a professor.
That's true.
Are you in touch with Nagarajan?
Yes,
he's not well.
He's not well. I met him at Alandur, he has moved also. He lost his wife, as you know that.
He was at Thiruvannamalur.
Yeah, then he moved over to Alandur.
Yeah, stay with somebody.
I met him about a couple of months back.
Oh, I see.
He just rang me and said, why don't we meet?
Yeah,
So,
because we were thinking of inviting him.
Yes.
I said that according to me he was not well, so
Yes,
I
no.
don't know.
But he's talking now, not well. If you send a car, he'll come. In fact, he came to my residence one day and
Oh, very good.
we had a chat for more than 2 hours, reminiscing on how he wrote the book on computer programming.
That's exactly the reason, because he is one of those who was in the early years.
Yes, and he used to ascribe to me, he's going to the computer department. I egged him on to go to the computer department. It was very interesting. When I went to Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, for the 2-year program, I was made the president of the Students' Association there. And the institute wanted to change the grading system retrospectively. Students said, no, we'll go on strike. Then the then director called me and said, Dr. Ramani, you are from IIT Madras, you are a faculty. You must tell the students not to strike, that is not good. I said, you have taught a subject called role playing. There in IIT I played the role of a faculty. Here I am playing the role of a student, so I have to fulfill this role. Finally they gave in to the students and all that, very interesting. And there was an editorial committee which wanted to publish an article derogatory about the institute. I said no. They said, you may be president, but the editorial committee is independent of you. They printed everything that was supposed to be distributed the next day. It was kept in the director's office. I went to the director's residence in the night, said, give me the key. With a few students, I went to his office, tore off those pages which contained the derogatory article and kept it there. The next day, they found that the article was not there. The editor said it is my prerogative to choose articles. I said it's my prerogative to, to keep it there or not. Very interesting. With the result, ultimately, I got the best student award from IIM Calcutta, B.C. Rai Memorial Award. Of course, there are many interesting anecdotes in IT itself. We had a center for rural development in Narayanapuram.
Correct.
I was actively associated with that. I developed a project called Generation of Electricity in Villages Using Bullocks. Dr. Radhakrishna was in charge of that. And I presented one paper at through Costed in Bangkok, Asian Institute of Technology, and one in Colombo, in Sri Lanka. So when I left IIT and went to NITI, I pursued this. I made a prototype of generation of electricity in villages using bullocks. The then Prime Minister, Mr. Chandrasekhar, was keen. He asked us to demonstrate in Delhi. So we went and demonstrated to him, and he liked it so much. He said, "Leave the machine here, we'll get another one done for you." Then when he came back, Professor Narasimha Rao visited our institute for delivering the convocation. He showed the project. He appreciated. Then we brought it to Madras. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, he saw this and Ramani, is a very good idea. Pursue it. I said, I require funding for this. It is not possible to pursue this project. But after now, I am thinking of reviving it along with some other rural projects, and I am approaching some agencies for that to give the idea.
Oh, there is some wheel, movement to the bullock cart.
Yes, we have a gearbox and a
see.
generator. So the slow speed is converted to higher speed. And then I had kept a TV, wet grinder and all that. This was charging them. So that's how the Prime Minister was very much interested in that. And he said, we have to develop villages and these sort of things are very useful. You pursue that, he said. And what happened was subsequently, though I have some more ideas about it, I require institutional support for that. As an individual, it's a huge project to do. But I got ideas. I'm thinking of publishing in newspapers so that it will attract attention. Now with the cow protection and all that, I said, you saw the picture of Lord Krishna with cows. What about the bullocks? I said. No, I have not got a good answer so far for it. I said bullocks are also very useful.
Yes.
And with the organic manure, now our with the organic product, it will be very useful. I'm making a study of that even now.
Yeah, the only thing is that the manure produces methane. Methane is supposed to be greenhouse gas.
Yes.
So methane, the half-life period of methane is much more than carbon dioxide.
Yes.
So accumulation of methane in the stratosphere is going to,
From the long range point of view, yes.
long time it is a problem for the,
But the gobar gas which you get out of it,
yeah,
it's 250% enriched when you give the gobar gas.
yes,
You can use for manures.
yeah.
And gobar gas can be used for heating and all that.
Yes, that's
But what you say now, I think from the point of view of the environment, I think that is a negative point.
One thing I wanted to ask you was Professor Anantaraman
Yeah.
and you, were you exchanging jokes or sort of, whenever they were going to a staff meeting and all that, there was sort of tit for tat?
Yeah, that the reason for that is in the humanities and social science department, there was a divide between the engineers and the non-engineers.
I see.
And because of that, Dr. Anantaraman was in the economics, non-engineering side, I was in the engineering side. So we formed a group. There used to be a lot of...
No, in fact, even in when students are present, it was they used to enjoy very much.
Yes.
In fact, it so happened that 87 or something like that, myself, Professor Kuriakose and Professor Srinivasan, we got the Coromandel Express at Bhubaneswar at night 11:45.
I see.
The train comes from Calcutta and we had boarded, too tired. So there was a co-passenger with me who was working with Hindustan Zinc. He passed out of IIT Madras, MS or MTech. I don't remember. He's from this place.
I see.
And he told me next morning, he said that we used to enjoy that with Professor Ramani, Professor Anantaraman. So he would say and immediately he would.
Yes. I used to say industrial engineering should be out of humanities. They are not compatible with each other. He said, no, we want you here because we will get more funding for our department.
Now, another thing I want to ask is, did Subramania Swamy, during the emergency period, come to humanities? See Subramania Swamy, member of Parliament. This is a very delicate point.
No, yes, but...
No, I will tell you why I am asking you this question. Because in 82 December, I was in IIT Kanpur to set a question paper for JEE. And there was a paper setter from IIT Delhi, English paper setter. It was Krishna Rao had come with me, and one Upadhyaya. And he was arrested during the emergency.
Yes.
And he was talking about the emergency, Congress government and all that. And then he mentioned that he put him in the train in Delhi, and Subramanian Swamy being put a Punjabi dress, except that Subramanian Swamy could not speak Punjabi. So he seems to have asked, if somebody talks in Punjabi, what shall I do? But immediately after the train left, somehow they saw this Upadhyaya there. They knew they were searching for Subramanian Swamy, and then they arrested Upadhyaya. But what happened, what I learned was, Subramanian Swamy arrived, stayed in IIT campus, visited the humanities department, spent some time or gave a lecture, a discussion with Anantaraman.
Yes.
And was it true? Because later, because Pandale seems to have received a letter from the Prime Minister's office.
I see.
Yeah, this was, that is what Upadhyaya told me about his coming to IIT Madras. But then I had heard about it because it had spread from the director's office.
I don't remember that incident, but I can tell you another anecdote. He was invited for a dinner by Cho Ramasamy, where I was also invited. He was running a management school in Cochin. He said, Dr. Ramani, why don't you join our board of governors there? Then next day I wrote a letter to him saying, look, I don't want to be involved in a highly political type of situation. All that.
It is everything semi-political.
Yes, something. Yes, but I didn't want to involve. I knew about what he did when he was in IIT Delhi as a professor.
I didn't know, but because he was in IIT Delhi, I know.
He was a union leader there.
Yeah, I know about it. But the IIT Delhi has been in the staff union and all that for quite a long time.
True.
And 98 JEE, I was the organizing chairman. And the results had to be postponed by 10 days because the pay commission scales were not implemented. And so all the IIT stuck work. But then IIT Madras and IIT Delhi did not join. But Bombay and Kharagpur were very militant. IIT Kanpur went another way.
Yes, I remember that incident.
So I had a lot of problems. But Srinath was very angry with me, but I couldn't do. And I told him that you have no voice in this. Because I am the organizing chairman, my word has to be taken. And he agreed to that. Finally, we did conduct, 10 days later we announced the results and everything else was normalized.
At that time, when he was supposed to have visited our humanities department, he was not so much known as he is now. So it must have passed off without much notice from my side, that's what I thought.
No, 88.
88. I was not there. That's
no, I'm only telling that.
No.
I was responsible for another thing, which because till 87, we used to have a paper in English. So 87, I conveyed to the directors of all the IIT that most of the students who get into IITs are already good in English.
True, very true.
So therefore, there is no use in wasting money on printing and setting up question paper in English, but we will drop it. So they all agreed unanimously. But unfortunately, the very next day, when the meeting was held here and everybody went back, all the directors, next day Times of India in Bombay brought out center page saying that this is the background, back
door.
Yeah, back door for introducing Hindi in JEE. And exactly that is what happened after 3 years.
I see.
That is how the question papers started getting printed in Hindi.
Oh, I see.
And initial years, for example, we were having answering in other languages. In fact, Kannada, Tamil, and there were very few. Tamil was quite a number. But then now it's only Hindi and English. But anyway, it was a big, I started regretting later what was it was a correct thing that was done. Because English being an international language, that should have been
true. But your statement is correct. Generally, IIT students don't require that English language course.
Except the backwards.
For them, it could be a special
Yeah,
course.
for them it is given.
Very true,
Like
that's
we
very
had
true.
a very good lecturer in English.
That's true.
Because for those students, I have
Hmm.
also taught chemistry for 1 year, 2 years
I see.
like that. And professional English is something which possibly will be important for the IT
That's true.
student. Because IIT Kanpur introduced this. My son-in-law was the person who started
I see.
professional English course there.
I see.
But Professor Dande, was the director, he wanted my son-in-law, who is a professor of English literature, to start the professional English course.
I see.
And it has been running now for the past 9, 8, 10 years now.
I see. To reconnect myself to IIT Madras, I had one proposal which I am going to talk to the rural department. I already told them about it. And I started a course on entrepreneurship when I was in Bombay. And the government of India had said that it is impossible for the government to provide jobs for all the unemployed people. So entrepreneurship should come in a big way. People should be either self-employed or become small-scale entrepreneurs. Gradually, they can become bigger entrepreneurs and all that. So I was taken as a member of the National Entrepreneurship Board. And then we talked about innovation, entrepreneurship and so on. I had designed the course there. So when I left Niti and came back to Madras, I was advisor to a number of universities here. So I initiated entrepreneurship course and innovation courses. I myself, in order to show an example, I innovated a machine called the non-electric, manually operated clothes washing machine. It became a success, and the government of India chose mine among 10 projects, given me a grant on that also. And I thought I should also discuss with the rural department in IIT Madras to take it forward. In fact, out of 7 billion population in the world, hardly 2 billion have got access to the electrical machines. The remaining 5 billion do it by hand, including the developing countries, Africa, etc. There were attempts in the last 60, 70 years to develop a non-electric machine. They tried the cycle, attached a drum and all that. All of them are commercial failures because they are trying to imitate the electrical machine, and it is not possible to do. So I thought it differently, did some lateral thinking, brought a reciprocating motion to mimic the hand washing of clothes. It has been successful. I have distributed villages and all that. So I am thinking of reconnecting myself to IIT through this project, which can be profitably taken up by IIT Madras, because the demand will be phenomenal all over the world. So this is my, I will present this diagram to you, and if you like to do that.
Simulator you were talking of,
Yes.
Synchrone. Now it has something to do with satellite, this one and all that?
No, not satellite. It was done in IIT Madras in 1982 in my department. So what I did was, I wrote a computer program to simulate the decisions which are taken before, during and after a cyclone.
I see.
Then I got the data from the Directorate of Town Planning from Madras. They had data for the last more than 60, 70 years.
I see.
I collected that and built it into this one. And the district collectors who were trained for 3 days on this one, they felt it was very useful, and they gave some examples of that. When the computer said there is a lot of heavy cyclone, lot of water stagnating and all that, some villages are marooned, the district collector said, we want a helicopter to survey. The computer said, no, no helicopter, no helicopter.
Oh, I see.
So in the final session, they said, your computer is not responding. I said, at that time there was no helicopter base in Madras. Nearest one was Cochin or Hyderabad. You did not know it. So if you had done this mistake in real life, it would have been very bad. So they appreciated that. Similarly, many things were simulated in the SimClone, and one observer for the SimClone, Dr. Southern, he came from Australia. He is a senior technical officer in World Meteorological Organization. He happened to pass by, he attended my workshop. Then he said, finally, he got a report about this SimClone in the World Meteorological Organization. It's a 2-page report where he said, nobody has done this type of operational simulator. I congratulate IIT Madras for having taken up this subject, and he gave a small donation, a few dollars, to encourage one of the students to do research, further research in this area. It was very interesting. I can pass on the write-up to you, the World Meteorological Organization, and subsequently it gained a lot of interest. I was presenting this paper in USA, and in the International Society for Emergency Management. Based on this, I was made the Asian Vice President of the International Society for Emergency Management to spread it across in this area. And subsequently, I went to myself and a research scholar were asked, given an assignment in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh on Gandhi Sagar Dam. So, I went there, I did a simulated model for that and showed that if they had used a simulator for their flood forecasting and routing, they will save nearly about 18 to 20 crores of electricity those days, because you can stock more water for the same risks which they are taking. It got reported extensively in the Times of India and so on. I still feel this has to be taken very seriously by our national disaster management authorities. I am trying to give it to them. In fact, Tata Consulting Services were very interested in this. They said, can you train a group of our executives? We would like to do this project for Government of India, because every disaster reduces the wealth of a nation.
Naturally.
Whatever development, part of development is arrested
exactly,
because of this.
Exactly.
And so I did what is called a computer simulator for flood forecasting and routing. Recently there was a big cyclone here, the Varda.
Yeah.
So I wrote an article in the Times of India 2 days later on how this model could have been used to forecast the cyclone earlier. You could have prevented most of the destruction and all that.
How can you prevent?
By forecasting, you get 6 to 8 hours advance warning that is coming. These are called golden hours, golden period.
Right.
During that time, you take decisions on people, etc. These golden hours.
But I don't think there was a lot of human this one. But we had only lot of trees for all this.
No. There were several deaths. At least as far as I know, there were 60 to 70 deaths. Chennai and suburbs and all that.
I see.
Yes.
Those things can be avoided.
Avoided. That warning which you get, even cyclone, normally because of the radar and the satellite communication, today you can get clear 3 hours warning, you know where the cyclone is going to strike,
right,
with plus or minus 100 feet also. So that 3 hours can transport the population.
That is correct. That's correct.
Similarly for flood.
No, cyclone shelters were granted by Government of India, and it was built.
Yes.
I don't know whether they still exist.
I can tell you an anecdote about this. When I gave the training on Simclone for the district collectors, they found most of the shelters were being used for other purposes, and none of the people used the shelters at all. In fact, some of the fisher folk on the coast refused to go away when the cyclone warning came, because they said, we got some cows and calves, that is a property, when you come back it will be lost and all that. Yeah. So the College of Engineering India did a research, came out with the red ball with the stem. If the cyclone velocity goes up beyond about 35 miles per hour or so, it will break and the red ball will be distributed and people run away. But what happened was, when the red ball was exposed, people broke it and took it away. It was not there. So I told the engineering college researchers, look, you are good engineers, but you forgot to take care of the social aspects and the humanitarian aspects. People's behavior during emergency is very different from the normal behavior. In a cinema theatre exit, when there is a fire, everybody tries to rush and they won't allow other people to rush through also. So that small door is not enough for emergency. So the behavior of people during emergency has to be studied and built in the design of our structures like cyclone shelters and so on. That is where the social sciences engineering come together. They have to interact together for designs. So a lot of lessons we learned from Simclone, which was very much appreciated. When I presented this paper in USA, they said this type of operational simulator we have not yet designed, and they were very interested in that. And I recently also presented a paper in Denver, Colorado on Simclone, along with a training tool called didactic simulation, which I have developed for training executives and anyone, which I think very soon I will be publishing about this also. But IIT Madras gave me a lot of facilities and motivation for me to choose whatever research project I like. And this freedom is, I think, one of the greatest lessons we have learned from IIT Madras.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
That should continue, and that is continuing.
Yes. That's how I chose the Simclone project. They let me go. They said, do what.
So, thank you, Professor Ramani.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.